Something weird is happening with men and muscle cars. Go to any car meet in 2025, and you'll notice something's changed. These aren't the guys you think they are. So what the fuck happened? Let me show you. Every Saturday morning at 7 a.m., my neighbor fires up his 1970 Dodge Charger and the entire street shakes. He's an accountant, drives a Honda to work, has 2 kids, normal life. But he spent $45,000 on that orange beast. Therefore, something deeper is happening here, something most people completely miss. You think it's about horsepower? It's not. You think it's compensation? Wrong again. You think it's a midlife crisis? Not even close. The real reason men buy muscle cars will surprise you, because it has almost nothing to do with cars at all. Let me show you. Picture yourself standing in a garage. There's a rusty '69 Chevrolet Camaro in front of you. Most people see junk, but if you're drawn to muscle cars, you see something completely different. You see potential, you see a project, you see control. And that last word, that's the key that unlocks everything. Think about your life for a second. How much do you actually control? Your boss controls your schedule. Algorithms control what you see. Your mortgage controls where you live. Even your car, if it's modern, has computers controlling when you accelerate. We live in a world where agency is evaporating. But a muscle car? That's different. Therefore, it becomes something profound. When you own a classic muscle car, you decide everything. What color, how loud, how fast. No computer second-guessing you, no algorithm optimizing your experience. It's a small kingdom where you're the absolute authority. Short sentence, medium sentence, creates breathing room. And then you get longer sentences that flow naturally, building rhythm and momentum, creating that musicality that keeps people engaged without them even realizing why they're still listening. Research from the University of Michigan proves this matters. People who feel control over their environment report significantly higher life satisfaction, lower stress, better mental health. A muscle car offers pure control in a world that offers almost none. But it goes deeper, therefore we need to keep digging. Here's what people miss. The car isn't about the destination. It's about the process. Think about your job. You sit at a computer, you move information around, you attend meetings, but at the end of the day, what did you accomplish? Hard to say. The results might show up in months or never, therefore something feels hollow. Now compare that to working on a car, rebuild a carburetor, turn the key, engine fires, immediate result. Tangible accomplishment, you can see it, hear it, feel it. Neuroscience research shows that working with your hands activates reward centers that digital work cannot replicate. When you solve a mechanical problem with your hands, your brain releases dopamine. Real pleasure, real reward. This is why muscle car owners call their garage time therapy, because it is. Let me tell you about Marcus from Toronto. Started building cars at 19. Worked 2 jobs for parts. I asked him why he spent money he barely had on modifications. His answer stopped me cold. Growing up, his family moved constantly. 7 cities before he turned 18. No stable friends, no room that felt his, everything temporary and out of his control, but the car became different. Therefore, it became everything. Every modification was his decision, his mark, his stability in chaos. Marcus isn't unique. When you talk to muscle car owners about their lives, patterns emerge, patterns nobody expects. Here's a father and son in Melbourne who spent 2 years restoring a Toyota Supra together. The father told me something fascinating. Those garage hours became their deepest conversations. While bleeding brakes, they talked about life, relationships, fears, dreams, things they never discussed at dinner. The car became a medium for connection, for bonding that wouldn't have happened otherwise. And this reveals something crucial. For many men, expressing emotions directly feels uncomfortable. Society conditions us to be stoic, to solve problems, not process feelings, but working on a project together, that's acceptable. That's masculine, therefore. That's when real emotional work happens. The muscle car becomes a safe space for vulnerability disguised as mechanical work. Now let's address the elephant, compensation, the idea that men buy muscle cars because they're insecure. And here's the truth. Sometimes that's part of it. Research from a British university found that some enthusiasts felt overlooked in their professional lives, underestimated, invisible. The loud exhaust became a way of demanding respect they weren't receiving elsewhere. But here's what matters. That's not a character flaw. That's human nature. Therefore, we need to understand it, not mock it. We all seek validation. We all have inadequacies. The question isn't whether we do it. The question is how. Some buy expensive clothes. Some get degrees. Some lift weights. Some buy muscle cars. The car becomes a tool for external validation in a world that makes people feel invisible. Is that the healthiest motivation? Maybe not. But it's honest and far more common than people admit. Here's where it gets interesting. The community aspect, walk into a car meet on Saturday night. You don't just see vehicles, you see people who found their tribe. Someone who spends 40,000 restoring a Chevelle might seem irrational to outsiders. But within the community, that person is respected, admired, understood, therefore. The investment makes perfect sense. They speak a shared language. They have shared values. They belong. Psychologist Abraham Maslow identified belonging as a fundamental human need, right above safety in his hierarchy. And in our modern world, genuine community is rare. You don't know your neighbors. You commute alone, you work isolated. So where do men find community? Where do they find belonging? For many, it's around their cars. The muscle car becomes the entry ticket to acceptance, to friendship, to mattering. This social dimension is more important than the car itself. Let me share something people never consider. The rebellion factor. Modern cars are designed by committee, focus grouped, emissions regulated into boring compliance. Their appliances, nothing more. But driving a muscle car is different. Therefore, it means something. It's loud when society wants quiet. It's aggressive when everyone's passive. It's individual when the world demands conformity. This isn't accidental. It's conscious rebellion, and rebellion serves a purpose. It's about asserting autonomy, about saying, I don't accept all your expectations, about establishing individual identity. It's safe rebellion, nobody gets hurt, no law is broken. But it still provides that satisfaction of being countercultural. Therefore, it fulfills a psychological need in a controlled, predictable world. Muscle car ownership offers meaningful defiance. There's also mastery, and this gets overlooked. Classic muscle cars are mechanically simple. You can understand how they work. Take apart the engine, put it back together, diagnose problems without computers. For men who value competence, this is incredibly appealing. Psychologists call it flow state, that mental state where you're fully immersed, losing track of time, experiencing deep focus. It happens when challenge matches skill perfectly. Not too easy, not impossibly hard. Working on a muscle car provides exactly this: real challenges, substantial learning curve. But it's achievable with dedication, therefore. It provides profound satisfaction. You're not just a consumer anymore, you're a craftsman, someone with genuine skills. In an economy of service jobs and digital work, this hands-on competence feels rare and valuable. Now here's something surprising. The nostalgia isn't really about the past. When muscle car owners talk about the 1960s and 70s, they're not talking about history, they're talking about values. They're saying craftsmanship mattered. Things were built to last. Design had soul. Whether that's objectively true doesn't matter. What matters is it represents something that feels lost. Studies on nostalgia show it serves important functions, providing comfort during uncertainty, reinforcing identity, connecting us to something larger. The muscle car becomes a physical link to values the owner feels are disappearing: authenticity over efficiency, character over convenience, permanence over planned obsolescence. It's not about living in the past, it's about preserving values for the future. Let's talk investment for a second, because this justifies everything. Classic muscle cars have appreciated significantly. A Plymouth Hemi Cuda can sell for millions. Even common muscle cars gain substantial value. This transforms the psychology of ownership. You're not just spending on a hobby, you're investing in an appreciating asset, something you enjoy now that'll be worth more later. This provides guilt-free justification. The car becomes financially strategic, not just emotionally indulgent. And that reframing matters. It allows men to pursue passion without feeling irresponsible. Here's what this all reveals. The real reason men buy muscle cars has nothing to do with speed or power or image. It's about autonomy in a world offering little control. It's about tangible accomplishment in a digital age. It's about community when society feels isolated. It's about competence when work feels abstract. It's about identity when everything feels generic. The car is just the vehicle, pun intended, that delivers these fundamental human needs. That guy in my neighborhood with the orange Charger, he's not having a midlife crisis. He's not compensating. He's not obsessed. He found something that gives him control, teaches him skills, connects him to community, and provides genuine satisfaction. That's not irrational. That's deeply human. So the next time you see a muscle car rumble past, remember what you're really looking at. You're not seeing a vehicle. You're seeing someone's therapy, their community, their rebellion, their craftsmanship, their identity. You're seeing a man who refused to accept that life is just working, consuming, and waiting for the weekend. You're seeing someone who found meaning in metal and mechanics. And honestly, that's not what you think at all. That's actually pretty profound.